So when you begin making your chair, you have to think about the shapes that you're going to need. Most likely you're going to be measuring at least 4 of the shapes, like if you're making a leg. So I'm going to start with 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. I usually like to have 2 points that I can connect when I'm measuring something, and then I can make those lines, right, that connect for the different objects, and then measure the length that I want. I label everything as I go. So I kind of skipped this step for the video because it takes a long time and every chair is going to be different. But you can see I have all of my shapes planned out. Here I have the side of my seat plus the side of my seat, the backrest, the backrest, the backrest, the backrest, bottom, 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 bottom. Obviously you can do these piece by piece, but I chose to do them all together, and I have 2 pieces of cardboard filled with the different parts that I'm going to need. Now you can work in partners, so somebody can be in charge of the legs, somebody can be in charge of the seat top. You just have to be communicating with each other to make sure you have enough of that. Once you have them drawn out, you're going to begin cutting them. Now, when you're cutting, you want to make sure that you cut as precisely along your lines as possible so that you have all of these pieces as clean as you can. This is going to take a while. Some people like to cut as they go. Other people like to have everything set before they go, like I do here. Whenever I'm labeling things, I make sure that I label them all. So I needed 4 pieces for each leg, so I labeled all of these leg 1, all of these leg 2, all of these leg 3, all of these leg 4, and then you can see I did 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, and 4 out of 4 so that I would know that I have them all. Okay, so I'm going to show you just how to put together one leg because I figured that's the easiest shape. I've got my 4 pieces, and basically I'm using the tape to make seams. So I can start, line them up, make a seam with my tape, and fold. I like to tape both sides of my seam and fold. Then I'll go to the next one. Same thing, make sure they're lined up. And the 4th. By doing this, I can now fold on the seams, make sure my tape stays connected, and attach one side to the other. And I've got my first leg. Once I have 4 of them and put the base on, I have the seat. So moving on, I've got the legs, and I'm going to start going through this pretty speedily so you can see how it all works. Legs to the bottom of the chair, to the backrests of the chair, and how it all kind of goes together. Again, you're going to be working in partners, so some of you can be working on some of this while others are working on other parts, and then you can see how they all kind of fit together into one whole chair. Until finally you have all these supporting pieces and everything's done, and you have your chair, the one that you were looking for, the one that you were hoping to have made. And it looks pretty good from all angles. Before you're ready to start paper macheing after you've finished sculpting your chair, you need to prepare some paper. So you're going to take some brown paper and rip it up, and then you can rip strips of paper. You don't want them too long, so sometimes after I've ripped like a handful of them, I'll just see if any are too long and sometimes rip them in half so that they're a little bit smaller. You want a big pile to start so you have enough to do your entire sculpture, or at least so you don't have to take breaks every few minutes, because once your hands are covered in glue, it's harder to rip. Okay, so once you're all set up with that, it's pretty easy. You take strips of paper and you dip it in the glue. It kind of feels like hair gel. I take 2 fingers and squeegee it off. So it's just a thin piece of paper with some glue on it. And then you start to wrap your chair. Now it's going to take a while and you want a lot of strips. You kind of are weaving them a little bit together. You want them to overlap, and they're what's going to reinforce the tape. The tape won't stick forever, but this will. If you don't have enough glue, you can put a little on your hand and kind of spread it out. I like to put strips going in both directions, and you're just going to keep working until your entire chair is paper mache'd. So, as you can see, I'm paper macheing all the sides. My goal is to have all the edges to be really, really strong, and to also cover up all the original cardboard or chipboard and the masking tape. I'm kind of working my way around in sections so that I can turn the chair, I can turn it on its side. I want to make sure the bottom and the top and all the edges are completely finished with paper mache. So after you've finished your chair and it is completely dry, this needs to be the next class so that it's dry, your next step is going to be to gesso your chair. We have buckets of gesso and these gesso brushes, and you're going to just put a nice smooth coat of gesso on your entire chair. Again, kind of like the paper mache, you need to make sure you're getting it on all the sides, underneath, in all the corners, all the crevices. Gesso is a type of paint, but it also will seal your paper even more than the glue and give you a nice clean canvas to work on so you can do your drawings and paintings of your artist that you had planned on using on the actual chair. So work on it. It might be a 2-day thing. Some of you might come in and realize you want a second coat, or you had missed something, or maybe you want to do part of it today and then flip it over and do the other part the next class, but you want to get your whole chair gessoed. After it's gessoed, you can start painting. The idea is that you want to paint all sides of your chair in the style of your artist. You can use several paintings to do this, but you want every side covered and adorned in beautiful artwork so it's a finished piece.